My name's Keith Harrison, and I'm an artist who works with clay and tries to fire it using electrical devices, domestic and industrial, and they've become more and more performance pieces as I've gone on and done different things. So I think that's what I do. What we're surrounded with at the moment is the debris of the last thing I did in Southampton, which was this DJ setup where I tried to play New Order, Blue Monday on one deck and then work with clay on the other deck. So this notion of a turntable became something for records, but also for clay in throwing terms. So I started off the event and I was using just raw clay and tried to throw a disc on the deck, and then I had 3 setups, and after I'd done the first one and then put a slightly harder piece of clay and then used the needle to turn it. So I was trying to connect to ceramic techniques but in a very different context and a different way of showing the work, I guess. And then the last one was a fired copy of the New Order original 12-inch in ceramic, and the hope was that it would play some version of the original, and the two would be playing at the same time, so I could mix in a loose sense between the two. And so what you have around you is what's left of that, the various plaster casts and the actual records. It was billed as, it was called Testing Grounds, and it was billed as an experimental event, and it worked okay, but I got a bit carried away and hit the power button by mistake and killed everything for a couple of minutes. And I mean, the audience, I guess there's about 70 there, they turn up and I think they just go with what happens, and they stuck with it, fortunately. But inside I was panicking, but I just kept spinning the turntable until I found the button that switched it all back on again. And the sound there was no recognisable sound at the end, which I was hoping for. I was just hoping that the cast would give something of the original groove, but I think I'd have to take a much better cast. But that's what it was. It was an experiment, and it makes me want to do more, because I've got the decks now, and potentially I've got a travelling roadshow that could go around, and at various places I could pitch up and do my deck stuff. Yeah, the audience for what I do ranges from much more art gallery based audience who'd come to a private view, and I would do an event to open the show. But this one was a mix of live art, music and performance. So the people coming to that event would perhaps be prepared for anything from theatre through to the kind of thing that I was doing, through to a kind of band performing at the end. So it's a bit of a mix, but generally it's I guess an art audience. I haven't done too much that's just purely out there without any context. It's generally placed in those kind of situations. Although I've done something I did a piece in a cafe where I fired ceramic off the fires in the cafe, and no one was given any warning. It was just covered in clay, and at lunchtime we switched them on, and one of them blew and just shattered clay all over the cafe into people's soup and everything. I just had 2 cameras kind of capturing it, and so yeah, that one was a bit more public, but obviously there's issues of liability, and the work is quite generous sometimes, because I used live electrical appliances. It is quite dangerous, and when I'm doing it, I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through? But after it, and the kind of the whole adrenaline bit of the night, and will it, won't it? The kind of the pieces aren't really tested beforehand, although I will do some preliminary testing. But they're very much kind of put it together and see what happens. And I think they're real events in that I don't always know quite what's going to happen, and so that appeals to it. It's an ongoing kind of investigation, really, and that it often means that I'll move and do different things as well. I try not to do the same thing again and again. They just sometimes quite naturally lead on to the next piece, and that keeps me making, really, and involving myself with this process.